So you're in Crete and you want to go hiking. You want something short and easy? Or something longer, more challenging?
Crete has hundreds of hiking paths waiting to be explored. After living here for 9 years and hiking for more than 5, I decided to make a list with my favorite paths. Wanted to combine easy, short hikes with difficult, demanding, long ones, so each of you can find something that suits his needs, skills and taste. I came up with a total of 12, and the idea is to present every possible detail, in numbers, animation and video, so you can prepare for one of the hikes you might choose. With that being said, let's jump into the list of my 12 favorite hikes in Crete.
Let's go hiking in Crete.
We start our hiking journey with Katholiko Gorge at number 12. We'll not go too much into this one since I made a video a year ago where you can find more details. The link is on the card above or in the description below. Very short but beautiful, Katholiko Gorge is located 30 minutes from the city of Chania and it's an easy, short walk. Just 2.5 kilometers long, will take you to the secluded Katholiko beach. The main effort of this hike will be the climb about 250 meters to return to your car. At number 11 we have Agios Antonios or Patsos, one of the shortest hikes in the list but definitely the most playful. The name of the gorge comes from the nearby village Patsos, but also from the cave temple of Agios Antonios. It's a beautiful gorge with a small river running through it. There are areas where you can sit to rest or have a picnic. Hiking in the canyon up to a point is very easy. Later on, the gorge gets narrow and forms several small waterfalls. The descent to the lake Fragma Potamon, river dam, requires caution, but it's a lot of fun. The distance to the lake and back is 5 kilometers and it will take you about 3 hours. You can combine this hike with a visit to beautiful Spili. By the way, Fragma Potamon Lake was the home of the Krata crocodile Siphis for a few months, back in 2014. Before moving on to the top 10, it's time for the honorable mentions. It's 3, no doubt, very beautiful and famous hikes that would make it to the top 15. They just didn't make it to the top 12. Moving on in our list, at number 10 is the hike from the beautiful Kourtaghioltis waterfalls to the famous Prevelli beach. You will park your car close to the stairs leading to St. Nicholas Church. The parking is marked as Cantina Fast Food on Google Maps. You can first go left and see the waterfalls from above. And then come back and follow the path to the river. Before walking to Prevelly, you can swim under the waterfall. The hike is 7 kilometers and will take you about 2.5 hours to reach Prevelly Beach. At number 9 is Rouvas Gorge and the walk to Rouvas Forest. Rouvas, or Agios Nikolaos Gorge, is considered to be the most important gorge of Psilorítis and Central Crete. The walk, which is 5 kilometers long with 600 meters elevation gain, starts from Zaros Lake and soon passes next to Agios Nikolaos Monastery. We reach the forest at Agios Ioannis area after about 2 hours. Here we find a beautiful area for picnic and resting. At number 8 is Fakiano Gorge. Most people don't know about it, but chances are you happen to drive right next to it at some point. You see, Sfakiano is parallel to Imbros Gorge to the west, so when you drive the scenic road down to Sfakia, you are actually between Imbros and Sfakiano. We started the hike at Amoudari village at Askifou Plateau. This first quarter of the hike has all the climbing, about 600 meters. First to Tavri Plateau, and after Nyato, we started the descent towards the south coast. Total length is almost 17 kilometers, which makes it longer than Samaria. The best way to do this would be by having 2 cars in your group, so you can drop one car at the end close to Horas Fakion. Or you can call a taxi, either from Horas Fakion or from Komitades, the exit of Imbros Gorge. If you don't want to climb one of the 2 highest mountains of Crete, Psilorítis or Pachnes, you can always climb a shorter one. The number 7 in our list, Gigilos Peak. The climb to Gigilos starts next to the entrance of Samaria Gorge. From Xyloskalo, at 1,200 meters, we follow the steep path as we see the rocky peak, which is our destination, to our left. At some point we meet a natural arch. After an hour more, we reach the pass of Gigilos, having a nice view of Tripiti Gorge and the sea to the south. Here we go left, and in about 40 minutes we reach the peak of Gigilos. The total length is about 5 kilometers with 950 meters of elevation gain. If you do want to climb the highest mountain of Crete, Psiloritis at number 6 of our list is the way to go. We'll not go too deep into this one either, since I recently made a video comparing the climbs to Psiloritis and Pachnes, the second highest mountain of Crete. You can find the link in the description below. The distance from Ieros Plateau to the top is 4.5 km with 900 meters elevation gain, and it will take you about 2 hours. At number 5 we find Aradhana Gorge. It's the deepest gorge in Chania, 138 meters, perfect not only for sightseeing and hiking, but also for bungee jumping. Actually, it's the second highest bungee jump in Europe. I really love this one. It's easy, beautiful, playful, and when you finish, you find yourself in one of the most beautiful beaches of Crete, Marmara. The hike itself is fairly easy, just 7 kilometers long with no climbing at all. The best way to do it would be by leaving one car in Horas Fakion and driving with another to the Aradhana Bridge after Anopoli. But since you will probably be with just one car, park in Horas Fakion and take a taxi, or maybe hitchhike to the bridge. After you finish at the beach, you can swim in the caves and enjoy the food at the taverna. Then you will take the boat back to Horas Fakion, or if you didn't have a lot of raki and you still have some power, you can walk. The total distance in this case would be 17 kilometers with 350 meters elevation gain. You will have the chance to see Lycos Beach, Finikas, Lutro, Sweetwater Beach, and Iligas. In the description below you will find a link to one of my first videos about the area of Sfakia. And now the tip of the day. Between Marmara and Lycos and up on the mountain is the village Livaniana. You can actually drive there, which means that if you don't want to take the boat from Horas Fakion to the various beaches of Sfakia, you could go by car pretty close to Marmara, 20 to 25 minutes walk, and Lutro, 15 to 20 minutes walk. Keep in mind, the road looks dangerous. It's not, but you will have to be careful. At number 4 we find Vrisi, probably the least popular and known hike of the list. I recently made a video dedicated to this route, so if you want a challenging and beautiful path where you will probably see no one else, Vrisi could be your option. So make sure you check the link in the description below. You will find the possible options, GPX tracks and all the details you need should you decide to explore Vrisi. After the least popular hike, we find at number 3 the opposite, the most popular hike in Crete and one of the most famous in Europe, with thousands of visitors every year, Samaria Gorge. With a total length of 16 kilometers, it's the longest in Europe and one of the most impressive gorges in Greece. It starts from Xyloskalo at an altitude of 1,200 meters. To visit the gorge, you start at Xyloskalo, right after Omalos Plateau, and you walk all the way to Agia Roumeli, where you will take the ferry. Although long, it's fairly easy, with almost zero elevation gain. Make sure you have appropriate clothing, footwear, hat and sunscreen. Also have some snacks with you and a water bottle that you can refill in many places. The width of the gorge is about 150 meters at its widest point and 3 meters at its narrowest, where it's called the Iron Gates. Now, regarding the last two hikes, I will try to present them in more detail and give information that might prove useful. Reason is that apart from being the two most beautiful and important hikes of the island, they are also the most difficult, demanding and even dangerous ones. In general, a lot of people found their demise in the last years in the trails of Crete, mostly because of disorientation, dehydration and heat exhaustion. At number 2 is the E4 path. E4 is a large network of trails that crosses the island from Kissamos to Zakros, through all major mountain ranges in Crete. But in this video, we will talk about the part from Sougia to Horas Fakion. You can start from Paleochora if you have the time and energy, or even from Elafonissi for that matter. In that case, you would need 4 days. From Elafonissi to Paleochora, then to Sougia, from there to Agia Roumeli, and the 4th day would be the last part to Horas Fakion. All 3 parts are more or less of the same distance and require similar effort, except the Sougia-Agia Roumeli part. Please keep in mind the following: never attempt this hike alone. Never attempt this hike in the very warm days of summer. Don't do this hike if you are not in a good shape. And never stop without snacks and a lot of water. And I mean a lot. Minimum 4 liters per person, if not more. Some people like to break this part in two by camping in Domata Beach. But if you want to do it in a day and you are well prepared, there won't be any problem. From Elafonissi to Paleochora is about 19 kilometers of easy hike without much of elevation gain. You pass from Kedrodasos, Krios, Grameno, and easy peasy you get to Paleochora. After a night's rest, you start in the morning to Sougia. This one is a bit shorter but requires a bit more effort. 16 kilometers long with a tad over 700 meters elevation gain. Eight kilometers into the hike, you find the first longest climb. The descent on the other side will take you to Lissos archaeological site and the small beach for a refreshing dip. From there is another short climb that will lead you in the short but beautiful Lissos Gorge. And a few minutes later, you reach Sougia, where you want to have a good rest for the next morning. This very challenging hike took us around 11 hours and 15 minutes to complete, including the many water and snack breaks and also a dip at Tripiti and Domata beaches, with moving time a bit over 7 hours. The first 6 kilometers are over some rolling terrain with short, steep climbs. At kilometer 7 is a steep longish climb, and on the other side you will find the exit of Tripiti Gorge, Tripiti Beach with very beautiful strange rock formations. At kilometer 10 you find Sendoni Beach. At kilometer 13 there is yet another short climb, and on the other side you are at the exit of Klados Gorge and the beautiful Domata Beach. Make sure you rest well here. You are now probably more than 5 hours into the hike, and what follows is the last and steepest climb. You go from sea level to 450 meters, go down to 390, and then up again to 480, which makes it 550 meters climb in less than 3 kilometers. After a while you will see Agia Roumeli, your destination. But you need about an hour and a half more to get there. Be very careful on the last descent, and make sure you follow the marks without rushing towards the sea. Congratulations, you completed one of the hardest, if not the hardest hikes on Crete. Enjoy your meal and rest. The next day will feel like a walk in the park. Αγία Ρουμέλη του Χώρας-Φακίων is almost 22 kilometers long, with 700 meters of elevation gain, but without any long, difficult climb. The many points of interest you find along the way will make it enjoyable. At kilometer 4, you find Agios Pavlos beach with the beautiful sand dunes and the old church. At kilometer 12 is Marmara Beach. If the previous day has taken its toll on you and you just don't want to go on, you can take the boat to Chora. At kilometer 13 and 14 you find Lycos and Phoenix beaches respectively. At kilometer 15, my dear Lutro, and at 18, Sweetwater Beach. From there you have the last 100-meter climb to the road and soon you finish in Χώρας-Φακίων. And the number one in our list is one of the most mystical and demanding hikes of Crete, the crossing of the mountain desert of the White Mountains. Hiking the White Mountains requires fitness, experience, and a good sense of orientation. It's tough and demanding, but being in this lunar landscape, a geological formation unique in the entire northern hemisphere, is worth every minute of the effort. It usually takes 3 days hiking through a sea of 58 peaks over 2,000 meters, and 50 more over 1,800 meters. The marking of the E4 path with poles and paint will be sufficient, but you have to be careful not to lose your direction. There are a couple of options on how to do it. A while ago, we started west at Omalos Plateau and finished east at Askifu. You can start at Omalos and finish in Anopoli. Or you can start from the north and finish at Anopoli or Askifu. Depends on your planning and what suits you best. In our case, we started early in the afternoon to reach Kalergi shelter from Omalos Plateau an hour and a half later, in order to make the next day a bit easier and get over these 5 kilometers and 500 meters of elevation gain. From Kalergis, where you can go as a daily easy walk anytime from Omalos, you have a great view of Gigilos Peak and Samaria Gorge. In the morning of the second day, we left Kalergi. Initially, we planned to reach the Katsiveli shelter after 15 kilometers, where we would spend the night. But since there was no guide available to open it for us, we kept going for 2.5 kilometers more and slept at Livada. So after Kalergi, we followed the dirt road for 3.5 kilometers and right under the peak Mavri, we turned east on the path towards Melidao. Just under the peak of Melidao, on the balcony, you can have a break with great views of Samaria Gorge. After following the path for 7 kilometers more, we reached Katsiveli for yet another short break. After the break, we went down the north side of the pass and then east to Livada under the north slope of Zvurichti. The Koumos of Nikoloudi didn't feel right to spend the night in, and it wasn't easy to find a flat part that's not so rocky either. But at that time, there was a flat fenced part just next to the Koumos, where we could sleep comfortably under the stars at 1900 meters. The third day is considered to be the hardest part of the 3 days trek, if not the hardest of the entire Cretan T4 path, but it's also one of the most amazing sceneries you will ever see. We started early with a climb southeast, towards the north slope of Irias Soros, and then through the narrow passage Sideroporti. Then between Askifiotikos Oros and Mikros Trocharis. After the next short climb, we got to the best viewpoint of the whole trek, a small hill overlooking the area called Mavrilaki, meaning Black Pits. Hiking gets tiring in the bare alpine desert, and the next part felt also sketchy, between the north side of Fanari and Kakokasteli, where you have to walk for an hour on a slope with a big incline and gravel. After this tough part, you reach Siniato Plateau and then Tavri Shelter. From Tavri, we follow the descending trail through cypresses that will get you to Amoudari at Askifu Plateau, where you do want to rest and eat after these demanding days. Here is a place that we frequent for the good local food and is featured in one of my next videos about my favorite places to eat around Chania. Make sure you subscribe in order not to miss it. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, hit the like button and leave a comment below about your favorite hike in Crete. Thank you for watching and see you soon.